nightmare, and then we sleep through day.
Yo guys, what's going on? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is James. This is Griffin GFX, the best channel on YouTube. Actually no, it's definitely not. Best graphic design channel on YouTube, potentially. Today we're doing how to make a logo like NERDS. This is actually some client work. I've been completely swamped with client work, which is why I haven't been uploading much recently. But this client was nice enough to let me turn his logo into a YouTube video. So he actually popped up saying he wanted a NERDS logo. Yo, so I'm just editing the video now and there are a few announcements that I want to make, so I'm just going to slip this in and hope it's not too annoying. First things first, the logo that you're going to watch me make has been turned into an official NERDS product, so shout out NERDS. I'm joking, I literally just went on Photoshop and printed it off. If I had a better printer this would look a lot better, but you get the idea. The second thing I want to announce is more of a warning. I'm going to be uploading a video that's been edited for my mum's business right after this video goes up basically. And it's a really well made film for her Moroccan. She's got like a trekking company that she's just started. So if you want to support that, the reason I'm doing it is because somebody else has uploaded the same video and I know how the YouTube algorithm works. If that one gets more popular, then our one's just not going to really get any results on YouTube. So I thought if I could like get some of you guys to go over there, drop a like, maybe comment, and just enjoy the content. It's such a well-made film. I think you guys will appreciate it. So I hope you don't mind that being up on my channel. I have to show some love to the family, you know. Anyway, let me get you straight back to the video. He actually popped up saying he wanted a NERDS logo. And then, like, because NERDS aren't very popular in England, they're an American brand. So I had them in the past, but I'd kind of forgotten what they looked like. I looked them up on Google Images and they just have the sickest logo. It's so like cartoony and vibrant, and I don't know, I really liked it, so I just goes to him, do you mind if I turn this into a logo tutorial? He was down with it, so here we are. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to make a NERDS logo in Photoshop. A lot of you guys actually were commenting about why I use Photoshop and not Illustrator. I understand that Illustrator is the best program for this type of stuff, but most of you guys have Photoshop but not Illustrator. Unless you're taking design quite seriously, you probably haven't invested in Illustrator, which is why I use Photoshop. You can still do it all fine. If anything, I'm more comfortable in Photoshop anyway. And regarding the whole vector situation, that doesn't matter at all. I just make my my logos so big that I never need to make them bigger. It's quite a simple logo. It shouldn't take me too long to make. I would say maybe difficulty level 4. So if you're a beginner, you'll have no problem doing this. Just follow quite closely and you'll be fine. Everyone's been asking what drawing tablet I use. It's this one. It's the Wacom Bamboo. I'm not sponsored. I wish I was. I got this years ago. It does the job though. It's quite a cheap one. Or actually at the time it wasn't, but you could get this now for like 50 quid I imagine. Maybe less, I don't know. Comes with a little pen. You don't actually need it for this specific logo video though. This is all just using the mouse. So make sure you have a mouse. If you don't have a mouse then you're gonna struggle. Shout out the clout goggles. It's really personal now. How's everyone doing anyway? How's everyone's 2019s? Let me know down in the comments what your resolutions are, if you've hit them already. Right, without further ado, let's cue the intro and get straight into the tutorial.
I grew up in the south of the town where peace also spread and death comes about. When friends start to go and feds come around, there's nowhere to go apart from the ground. We didn't have no peace to touch. I was only little, I didn't know
I'm
much.
gonna take my goggles off for the tutorial. Esh, get it. No interruptions. Boom boom. Bing bong, bingle, pingle. Right, I've got this document for you guys. You guys can download it, or just you don't actually need it. You can just get all the fonts separately in the description, but if this page helps you at all, then by all means grab it. It's in the description as well. So first things first, this Willy Wonka font up top was the bit where it says rainbow, and then the capital letters from NERDS was going to be this font here, and then the goofy lowercase letters was going to be this one. So we've got Skater Girls Rock and Candy Shop and then Willy Wonka. So yeah, download those 3 fonts. They're all going to be useful. First thing you're going to want to do is open up a new document. I do 1920 by 1080 because that's my monitor resolution. You guys can really do any size, it doesn't matter. Once you've got it, what I like to do is just scale it up whilst holding shift and control to make sure we don't, like, it doesn't go off at random angles type thing. Bear with me, I'm just putting some music on. I like to jam whilst doing my tutorials. There we go. Right. First things first, I'm going to grab this and pull it onto this document so that I can keep, so I don't need to keep going back to the other one to see what I'm doing type thing. And then I'm going to be dragging this one over here, so just type out whatever you're going to be typing out. My client's business name is Goobers. I think he's going to be like a weed outlet or dispensary or something like that in America. In legal states, I'm assuming. Goobers. So what they've done on the NERDS logo is every other letter is capitalized, so I'm going to be doing that with this. So yeah, type out your name and then make it quite nice and big. And then we're also going to be doing the bit above that says rainbow. For that we're going to be using the Willy Wonka font. So type out what that's going to be. Mine's going to be organic. Bang, like that. And then whatever you capitalize becomes, it like puts a little hat on top of it and exaggerates it slightly. However, for some reason they don't do it on the O's, so I'm going to be doing it on the R, like that. Now the second stage is to kind of shape the letters slightly weirdly, because if you see where the NERDS is, it's like the N and the E are going up like that, and then the R is like slightly downwards, and then the D and the S are going back like that. So we just want to kind of chop it up a little bit. How I do this is just by rasterizing it. This just means it's no longer a text layer, so you can't edit it anymore, so make sure you've got it all correct. And from here I'm going to literally copy the way they've done it, so I'm going to do the goo like that, and then we're going to do the B. Actually, I'm going to do the B and the E going back down like that, and then the R and the Z going back up at the end like this. And then once you're happy with that, I recommend bringing all the letters closer to each other. Like that. All the other ones are pretty much close enough. If anything, these ones need to come in a little bit more. Boom. And then I'm going to do the same with the organic, just to make sure I'm happy with how that is. So I might go for, like, I think the O should be bigger. So what I'm going to do is, before rasterizing it, I know I just did it, but I've pressed undo. If you click between the letters, hold Alt and then left click or right click, you put little spaces between things. So I can bring the A a bit closer, stuff like that. I'm going to rasterize it and mess with it a little bit. So I want the O to be bigger. Ooh, there we go. If you've done one selection, then want to continue with that selection, if you hold shift, you'll get the little plus symbol, and then you can continue dragging out, and then it's just going to make one even bigger selection like that. I wish I knew that a long time ago. That saved me a lot of time. Now, before I go too much further with this, I'm going to work out where it's going to be positioned so that we can, like, kind of make it fit around the letters. I reckon here. So in fact, I don't want this to be like that. I'd rather it be following the direction of the top of this B. So we'll keep that pretty much flat. And then for this bit here, I'm just going to have it lifted up slightly. And then I'm bring the N back down because the N doesn't need to be lifted up. What I'm doing here is just trying to make it suit the rest of the shape of this part here. So in fact, I'm going to have this now dropped back down like that. It's a bit random, it's just kind of doing what you think looks good. Nothing else really matters as long as you like how it looks. So that's calm, that's all done. Now we're going to be getting on with the actual text effect. So the first thing I think is best to do is to go onto Google Images and just grab a rainbow texture that you can put in the background. Because obviously the NERDS is on a very colourful background, so it will help you get into the vibe if your background's colourful as well. I'll include this image if you want this exact one. First thing now, I keep saying first thing, it's definitely not the first thing anymore, but I lose track of the stage, so I'm just going to continue saying first thing. First thing, let's make the Goobers text white and the organic text white. I'm actually going to make organic slightly smaller. And colour overlay white. To get into that menu, you just go right click and blending options. Sorry if I skip anything like that. I kind of assume that you guys have like a rough understanding of Photoshop, because when I go too slowly, I upset all the people that know what they're doing and get annoyed at how much, because they end up like having to skip through it, and I know how annoying that is. So I try not to like be too beginner, but I also try not to kind of skip over too much. Right, so now you want to go right click, blending options, and add a stroke. Now the stroke is like, it's like a light blue, or not even a light blue, it's like maybe like a sky blue, I'd say. I'm going to be doing it at 27 stroke. Obviously that might look completely mad on your document if your document's way bigger or way smaller, so just get a play for it. You just want it to be, you know, a stroke like that around the outside. You now want to duplicate this layer by pressing Ctrl and J. Now I'm going to select the bottom layer, the bottom Goobers, right click again, blending options, and then add, go back a step, rasterize that, then go blending options, and then press stroke. Now make it quite large, and now you want to select a darker blue basically. You can either guess your own colours, or you can literally just tool pick it off of theirs if you want it to be like exactly like theirs is. I think this would look a bit better, even slightly darker, so there we go. Now you're going to want to, oh yeah, so I was going to say rasterize, but what I think is best here is that you do this part yourself. So if you look, it doesn't look very smooth, and on theirs, if you see where the N is like a perfect right angle, so is the stroke, whereas on Photoshop strokes always get like smoothed off on the edges. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to rasterize it, lower the opacity, and then I'm literally just going to redraw this how it, like exactly how I want it. So to do this, you're going to be using the pen tool. Now I'm actually going to be doing a pen tool tutorial soon. It's one of the most requested videos on my channel, so stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, I'll go over it very roughly. What you want to do is start somewhere, and then to go to your next location, you click and drag, and it will make this line. Now because I've made the line and it's got this second line here extended out, that means my next click, it's going to try and bend it for me. If you don't want this to happen, you have to hold Alt and left click on the square, then your next click is going to be back to that. If you decide you don't like that, you can then go back and change it again by doing that. You have loads of flexibility with the pen tool. You could make it really extreme by pulling it out really far and then clicking somewhere, and it's going to be trying to do this crazy direction for you. So it's just getting comfortable with the pen tool by messing around. I'll show you how I do it on this, for example. So we're going to be making these edges right angles by going like that. I don't want to make them perfect right angles, which is why I'm kind of doing like slight curves like that, just because it's quite a cartoony logo and I don't think it would look great if it was like a perfect edge. Hope that makes sense. So yeah, this bit doesn't need much attention. I think it's the kind of thing that will almost look slightly better if it's a bit hit or miss, you know, a bit goofy, whatnot. So there we go. You can make these curves look way nicer than how it looks with the stroke, because with the stroke they've done it in like, instead of a perfect curve, it's like dirt, dirt, dirt. So by doing the pen tool, you're actually getting a better result anyway. If you're happy with how it looks, then feel free to skip this stage. This is just all down to preference. It doesn't take long though, I'm just going to fly through this quickly. Comment down below if you're a beat maker, by the way, because I'm looking for beats, like non-copyright beats to use in the background of videos like this. I never know what to use, I can just never find like quality stuff. I often find like a channel that makes good music and they call it copyright free, but you put it up on your channel and you get a strike straight away. It drives me mental. Right, so something like that. Once you're done, you right click and press make a selection, press enter, and then you can fill it in. You can use the paint bucket, or because my brush is so big, I'm literally just going to go like that real quick. So there you go, you've got goobers written out. Now what I'm going to do is right click on this layer that you've just made, and then I'm going to add another stroke. This stroke is going to be green, like a lime green. Maybe make it about that big there. That's basically just this part here that you can see. Right, once you've done that, we're going to go ahead and add a drop shadow to the goobers text. So blending options, drop shadow, you want to change the angle from the top left to the top right, and then you're going to change the spread and the size, and then you should start seeing the drop shadow being applied. If you lift the opacity to 100%, it means that it's going to be fully black. And then I'm going to be lifting the spread up quite high, dropping the opacity and lifting the direction up, or the distance, sorry. That just means that it looks like it's actually behind the text as opposed to all around it. If there's no direction, then it's going to be exactly the same width at all angles. Whereas if there is distance, sorry, I keep saying direction, not distance. Whereas if you do have distance, then it's going to use the angle that you input and push it like in the direction of the angle. I hope that makes sense. And then it's just playing around and seeing what looks good. I think that's kind of done it. Perfect. We'll add the small blue stroke around the lime bit at the end. I want to get the organic bit done first. So to do the organic bit, I have to quickly study how they've done that. So they've got a dark blue stroke. Right, this is going to be a bit of an experiment because I practiced up till so far doing this bit, but I haven't practiced this organic part, so bear with me here. Let's go blending options, stroke, and select a dark blue stroke. We'll go slightly darker than the blue that's already been used. I'd say about there is good. Actually, slightly thinner, I'd say about there. I'm also going to save the document. Make sure you frequently save your documents, because if you don't, then when your Photoshop crashes, you've lost it all. And once you've saved it once, you can just keep hitting Ctrl S, makes it super easy. That's just a habit of mine now, I just always smack Ctrl S. Right, so after doing this, they have a bit of direction that's been put on it, and how you get that is by duplicating it, selecting the bottom one and dragging it in the direction that you want, so maybe like that. And the direction that it goes in, it looks like it gets slightly darker. So to do that, I'm just going to merge all of this, merge all of these layers, select it all, and then go from a lighter blue to a darker blue. Then using the gradient layer, the gradient tool, and making sure it's on the furthest to the left selected gradient option, you can just drag down like that. There we go, I think that looks quite nice. Now we want to add this rainbow effect that's in the background. So to do this, I'm going to use this rainbow that we've got here. I'm going to duplicate it and turn it this way, because that's the way that they've got it. They've also got blue starting on the left, so we'll do it like that. Boom. Now I'm gonna merge these ones, the two organic layers together, like that. And now we're gonna add a stroke to the organic layer. I'm gonna make the stroke white, and we'll make it about this large. This white bit is where the rainbow is going to be visible. So I'm now going to duplicate this layer, and I'm going to rasterize it. I'm going to select the white section. I'm then going to select the rainbow layer. I'm going to press Ctrl-Shift-I. This inverts the selection, and then I'm going to select delete. What this done is it's removed all of the rainbow other than the bit that's behind there. So you're left with this basically. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this white layer, and I'm going to go back into the organic layer, and I'm going to remove the stroke like that, and you should be left with a nice rainbow effect around the outside. If that was a bit too complex and you struggled doing it, use the same method we did earlier using the pen tool. Literally just go around the edges with the pen tool and then fill all of that in with the rainbow. But this is just a little shortcut. Hope it wasn't too confusing. And then from here the rainbow fades straight out to this lime green, the same lime green that's used underneath. So I'm going to find that, pull it up, blending options, stroke, select that lime green, and I now need to zoom out to see how big we need to make it. Okay, so it's a lot thinner than the other one. And then this time, whereas on the other one it goes from blue to green, this one goes from green to blue. So I'm going to rasterize that. And then I'm going to go blending options again. And then I'm going to go stroke. And then this time I'm going to select the blue. And then lift the size up to about here. Now I'll do what I did before here and lower the opacity. We're actually going to do this bit ourselves because I don't like how they make it look. So I'll make a new layer underneath and I'm just going to start drawing that out. I won't talk you through this one because I've already talked you through the previous one, but it's just messing around with the pen tool again. I've also been thinking about making a Discord for you designers. Someone was meant to be hitting me up but they never did, so if any of you guys know how to make like a good Discord, then get in touch because I want one that we can all have fun on. It'll basically just be for designers to like help each other out and stuff. Just a nice community. Because I feel like I have quite a lot of you guys and you're all like a community on my channel, but we may as well all be somewhere where we can kind of all benefit. Because obviously a comment section isn't very useful. Right, I'll fill that in with blue. I'm going to lift the opacity up of the previous layer, go to blending options and remove the stroke. So there we go, there is that. I think that looks quite nice. I'm going to do some final tweaks at the end. For example, their rainbow pops a little bit more because they have this like dark stroke and there's almost a slight shadow. You can see like where this W is, that there's like a shadow underneath the line, which just helps that really stand out. Little things like that are just tiny tweaks. It's going to be hard for me to explain what I'm doing, but I will show you at the end in maybe like a speed art, me doing final tweaks. And then really there's only a few things left to do. One of them is, you can see here, there's these light blue kind of brush strokes on the inside of the letters. Very small touch, but I think it's very important. So we're going to be doing that. So I'm going to select a light blue and I'm going to go up onto a layer right on top. I can bring the rainbow background back now. I'm going to start applying them. So first you need to understand the rules that they've applied. So the angle that it's coming at is the top left corner. Anything in the bottom right corner has no stroke. Everything in the top left has stroke. It comes down the side and over the top, but never too far down. So with that in mind, let's begin. I'm going to be leaving maybe a centimetre width between the stroke and what I'm now adding. You want to stay consistent with that. If it's not consistent, it's not going to look the best. If you want to be really consistent, you could add in the blending options an inside stroke, just as a grid, or like as a guideline, I mean, to make sure you're not kind of going, like, to make sure you're not going too thin or too thick in certain places. So it'll look like that, and then when you lower the opacity, it should look something like that. I always end up with a really bad back after recording these videos, because normally I'm like doing artwork like this, but I need to be close to the microphone because my microphone's really quiet for some reason. I want one of those ones that like hangs down from above. So theirs obviously has been done with like one set tool, whereas we're doing this freehand. There might be a better way of doing this. Let me know in the comments if there is. Obviously there's going to be a better way of doing it by like adding an inner stroke and then a second inner stroke and making the second one white so it overlaps the first one, but obviously that's going to take a long time. Probably longer than it's going to take me to do this, so... I actually find this series really fun as well. Like, some people seem to kind of miss the point of it and think it's me just teaching people how to steal people's artwork. But from my perspective, I find it really fun to make because I love looking at someone's artwork and just working out how to make it, basically. Like, obviously there's no tutorial on how to make a logo like NERDS out there before I make it, so it's my job before making the video to teach myself how to make the NERDS logo just through trial and error. So I find it really fun. Obviously it teaches you guys Photoshop, and the hardest thing for people when they think of making a logo is to like come up with an idea. So for beginner designers, I feel like it's a really fun practice. It gives you an insight into logo creation without actually like sitting down with a pen and paper and just spending hours kind of planning logos. Obviously you couldn't really sell logos like this, like I do, because I have clients that see my tutorials and they're like, oh, make me a logo like this, and I do it for fun. But if you're kind of starting like a serious business due to copyright reasons and stuff, you probably wouldn't get away with it. And if you're ever just going to be huge, you obviously don't want to have a logo that's clearly somebody else's logo. But for the sake of YouTube and just having fun, I don't see what the big deal of voice cracks. Every video there's a voice crack. Someone needs to make a compilation, all my voice cracks, just so I can sit there and cringe. I feel like maybe if I watched that I'd never voice crack again, because it would like get it all out of me. It's just where I talk quite quietly, I think. I just refuse to talk so that I never voice crack. Can you imagine? So there we go. Once you've done that, you can lower the opacity to the point where it's not very obvious, but if you look closely, it's just like a rough kind of hint that there's almost a bit of depth to the text. It makes it look like it's like a slight bevel only on one side. It's quite a smooth and clean effect. I quite like it. It's not in the rainbow or the organic bit, I mean. Right, so now from here, what we're going to be doing is adding this blue stroke that's underneath the green one. Now, it looks like they've just centralized this, because if you look on the left side, it's coming down and towards the middle, and on the right side it's doing the same thing, and it's very, very small. Something else that's going on is where this organic bit is underneath there. It's just going straight down into the goobers bit, so we're going to do that as well. So from around here, I'm just going to bring it down like that. Make sure you're underneath the goobers layer, otherwise it's just going to go over the top of everything. I'll do the same over here, like that. Once you've done that, you can select it all, make sure you're selecting the right shade of blue, and just fill all that in like that. I think that looks quite nice. Like that, looks quite sick. Now for this goobers one, it's a different shade of blue by the looks of it. So I've got that shade of blue selected, and now I'm just going to go underneath this green layer and just add that very slight thin stroke. I'll try and do the next Pixel Street episode soon. I just have to get my clients done first. I apologise if there's any clients that's waiting. I was so busy over Christmas that I feel like there's been quite a few people that have waited for maybe longer than they would have liked to. I always tell people that deadlines have to be flexible, unless someone clearly requests a specific date, and then if I say yes I can do it by that date, obviously then I will. But if it's just left open, then in some situations I will have to push it back more than I want to. So there we go guys, that is pretty much the logo. I'm going to do some final tweaks. I'm going to add some drop shadows here and there just to kind of make it stand out as much as I think theirs does, because there's definitely a few things that I prefer about theirs. But yeah, effectively that is how you make Wonka's Nerds logo. I think it's a really cool logo. It's super, like, it supports their brand perfectly. It's super cartoony. You can kind of tell it's for candy or something like that. It's vibrant, bubbly, friendly. If you did make this logo, like I said, tweet me an image of the logo that you've made. I might make a shout out video. I wanted to do one in the past where I just shouted out everyone that's been inspired by me to do my work, just to kind of encourage more participation, I guess. But yeah, if you did, let me know. Drop a comment, tell me what videos you want to see from me. If there's any that you're waiting for, I'll try and get them done as soon as I can. That is it from me guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope to see you in one of my future uploads. And yeah, bye bye.
Everywhere I go, I'm hearing something. Baby, stop making things out of nothing. Am I the one to blame? 3 years, you're still the same. I talk, so nothing has changed. I had to go, you call me rude. I did it for us, I did it for you.